Okay, welcome to this week's episode of What's Up Wandsworth. I'm here with Dee from Dee Light Bakery. Thank you for having me. Do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself, how the business came about, how the bakery came about, and yeah.
I've always loved cooking. Growing up, because I was chronic asthmatic, I had no dairy and my cousin was celiac, so we've always cooked. So one thing I've always wanted to do is open like a cafe bakery.
Yeah.
Coming over to the UK on a 2-year working visa originally, was going to go home after the 2 years and open up back in Sydney, which that never happened. I've got my husband and 2 lovely children now.
Yeah.
So I opened the bakery here. Just around the corner from our house, because we live in Wandsworth as well. And I was looking for a place where people could take their children and still feel comfortable, where they can actually meet other people and have a cup of coffee together.
Yeah.
It's nice to you.
Yeah. And how long have you been here? Is this the original site?
This is the original site.
Yeah.
So this is coming out for 12 years. And then I had a wholesale site in Bermondsey. And luckily, I sold that in 2019 before the pandemic.
Yeah, got out in the nick of time, yeah. Hopefully they're doing all right. So over the 12 years, so that's 2011. Yeah. Has the thinking changed anything? Any particular focus now that you didn't have when you first started?
My food ideas definitely changed. I was listening to the customers in the beginning of what they wanted. Me bringing Australian culture straight into Ballon was a bit difficult.
Okay.
We had to do a lot of test tasting to get people to know our products, or my products, and it's worked out better at the time. I've got the academy at the back of the shop where I teach parties. I've only just reopened that again now because I shut it obviously for the pandemic.
Yeah.
What else has changed? I think we do more food now because I'm constantly creating new products. I have another lovely baker, Jackie. She's Scottish, so we love mixing, Australian and Scottish foods together, and we're passionate about cooking. We love it.
Yeah. Okay. So with the academy, so that's like events, people come in and do what kind of groups?
So it's a lot of kind of children's parties that we do.
Yep.
Where they make a pizza, they make a model of an animal out of icing, they decorate pineapple cupcakes, decorate them with lots of sweets, and make a giant cupcake as their birthday cake, and it's all combined. Everything's done for the parents, and the kids love it. I do corporate events there as well, hens parties. We've done lots of things.
And how have you seen the area change? Are there more Aussies? Is that why it's a bit easier to sell the Lamingtons?
There's definitely more Australians here.
Yeah.
Having a big Happy Australia Day kept on my window is attracting even more people.
Because that's permanent, right?
It is at the moment.
Yeah.
People love it because then they realise, that I'm Australian. And during the pandemic, I got so homesick that I found an importer of Australian and New Zealand products. Twisties and Tim Tams and Chips and Allens, and so people specifically now come here for them. I always keep quite a large stock of different things all the time. Yep. It's just a bit of home, and you can have a Lamington, a nice sausage roll, an Anzac cookie. People love it.
Yeah, it's like, for me, I'm Swedish, so there's a number of Nordic or Swedish stores where we go typically twice a year during midsummer and Christmas, and we buy the Swedish food, which is not as nice as Australian food, but yeah, anyway. So yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. And it's great that you're here where people actually live, because I have to go in centrally. But the area overall, property prices have gone up a bit since 2011. What's your take on sort of how the area has developed?
The area has changed quite a lot. There's a lot more independence. Well, there was pre-pandemic. I think Ballon looks like it's changed a bit now. We've got a lot of big brand names coming in, which is a bit sad, because the independence is what people need to support to keep us all going. Otherwise, we're all going to be shutting down and just get the same brand on every corner. Two things changed. I love it. You can eat in a different country every day. Yeah. And the markets are looking amazing now, much more inviting, music and great food, and I think it's developed in a good way.
Yeah. You mentioned that you do more food now. So is that, maybe I'm reaching for something here, but is that because people eat less sweets?
Our savoury is definitely a very big seller.
Yeah.
It depends on what I feel like making, honestly. Okay. So for at the moment I'm making lamb and rosemary pies. Last week I did steak and chili. I changed my different sausage rolls. People are still wanting to get out to have some food. And I don't do things like the Deliveroo, because I want people to come outside, get some fresh air, and meet other people when they're here.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
So even during the pandemic, you didn't do delivery?
Didn't do deliveries. No. For a couple of birthday cakes I did, yes.
Yeah.
But otherwise, once people were allowed out, we had, a big queue, because this is where people could come, stretch their legs, have that bit of exercise, and, get some food at the same time.
One of the few places you could go on.
Yes.
Okay, no, that's interesting, because I've spoken to others and they felt like they kind of needed to start doing deliveries during lockdown to survive. But yeah, we're here now and you made it through. So yeah. So you don't think that the health consciousness, because that's like one of the big themes that people like to talk about. People are trying to eat very healthy, less alcohol, more vegetarian, vegan diets, etc. Have you seen that at all? Or?
I've always made different dietary requirement cakes and savouries anyway. So I have a complete separate gluten-free sweet and savoury section. I do a lot of vegan cakes and slices as well anyway. It's kind of what I've always done. And I think the largest dietary requirement is dairy-free. And I think that's because there's a lot of mothers around the area. This is, Nappy Valley, it was Wandsworth, and people do find that they need to go dairy-free, while they're breastfeeding and things. So I already do supply a lot of that. And I think that's because that's what I grew up with. So people are always surprised when they come in and say, what do you have that's vegan? It's like, well, you have all this. And they're like, wow.
Yeah.
What do you have that's gluten-free? And you have this whole section.
Yeah.
So people like that.
And just to go back to what you said about growing up and you cooking because of your dietary requirements. So I guess it's just interesting that's because back then, I guess there wasn't as many options. I don't know what Sydney is like. Obviously now, I'm sure it's like here that they cater to people with different requirements. But yeah, growing up, so you just naturally cooked because there wasn't an option.
Loved to cook. My father being Italian, my mother Australian. So it was constant. I do find that Australia is a little bit more advanced in dietary requirements than the UK.
Okay.
Because a lot of things are already kind of gluten-free over there. Whereas here, a lot of things aren't. I feel it was slower catching on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big thing. It's not just that people are intolerant, it will make a lot of people sick. That's why I'm, very strict on not cross-contaminating things that are of a specific dietary requirement.
Okay. I want to go back to 2011. Tell me a little bit, what were you doing before that? And you had this dream since a long time to start your own bakery. Was it a long road in coming?
It was a long road. I was nannying for probably about 6 years. The children ended up being at my wedding. And I then had 2 children very close together. There's only 12 months between them. So I was very busy with them. And that's when I kept saying to my husband, if we're not going to go back to Australia, I want to open, my cafe bakery here.
Yeah.
And so he secretly organised for me to come to Ritherdon Road, this site, because I'd always walk past it going, it's closed, it would be a great place to have, the cafe bakery. And he organised a meeting here, and that's when I decided to take it over. So I was literally in here with, sledgehammers myself, pulling down walls and rebuilding and, painting and having a lot of fun doing it. It's hard because you don't want to put a lot of money into it just in case it doesn't work. But, I got hold of whatever I could and had a lot of fun and ended up opening, with my kitchen table out the front. I did a lot of food markets beforehand, telling people that I was going to open. These are the foods I'm going to be selling. And people are loving it. They're really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely creative shops here, and the people, all the shop owners are really supportive, and everyone's independent.
Yeah,
that's what we like.
Oh, that's great. So, and in your family, did you have people who were running their own businesses or entrepreneurs as such that you took inspiration from, or?
No.
You just figured it out as you went along.
Yeah, it's just something that I've always wanted to do. I think realizing something that you really enjoy, and actually before I opened a bakery, I was working at Cakes for Fun in in Putney, and I was teaching cake decorating. And I remember coming home to my husband and saying, I found exactly what I want to do. I want to teach. And that's why I set up the academy here. It's the one thing that it's just so fulfilling seeing all these people go, oh, I can't make this, and by the time they're finished, they're like, wow, look at what I've made.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just so rewarding.
Yeah.
And that's what I love.
So the academy started from the very beginning, or did that take some time in setting up?
From the very beginning.
From the beginning.
And it's just been through word of mouth, advertising. You know, and you get a lot of new parents then coming in, and you know, lots of children, and then they're all loving it, and they say we want to have our party here. And I've watched a lot of children grow up in this area. It's been really lovely, and you know, we've got the little kids play area here as well. So it's lovely that, you know, people always come into the bakery to tell me when they're leaving or when they're going on holidays or what's happened in their lives, and it's just really sweet.
Yeah.
It's a lovely area.
It is, and it's a nice sunny day today, so, you know, it's really showing off its best side. But yeah, this is a great sort of parade of shop here on Ritherdon Road. What do you think we can do besides obviously going to independent businesses ourselves? What can we do to support them, to see more people open bakeries, shops, you name it?
I think it's having support of even our local councils for independents opening.
Yep.
And then it's the advertising. More markets.
You mean like street markets or farmers market? Yeah.
Yeah, they're always a lot of fun to go to. We do the quirky market
Okay.
every year. Andy has 4 of them. And Quirky Dovetail used to be on Ritherdon Road. And after the pandemic, he closed down and decided that his business was better just online, but he still puts these markets together locally. So we're still joining those.
Okay. Yeah. And of course, having something like on Hildreth Street up in Badham,
Yes.
where they have a farmers market every week, I believe, requires sort of use of public space and probably some permissioning and so on. So that's obviously something the council can do.
There used to be more markets. So we used to have Balham Food Festival, but they don't do that anymore. It'd be good to open more of those again.
Yeah.
We used to have a Ritherdon Street party every year, but it just became, you know, getting in events coordinated and getting it all organised was such a big job.
Yeah.
That we haven't done it now since the pandemic, sadly. But it was such an amazing vibe. Got so many people in. You know, we'd have a stage up and lots of local people coming in, selling lots of different things, jewellery and different foods, and it was a really nice way to kind of thank all of our customers as well.
Yeah, our street's doing a street party for the coronation weekend.
It is always fun to do.
Yeah.
It would be good if, you know, the council kind of did, and they were doing one at one stage, but it's maps of all independent shops and everything throughout Wandsworth, and, you know, sending that out to every household around the area.
Yeah.
Just a way to find your independent shops and stall holders.
Yeah. And of course, one thing that consumers don't necessarily know about or think about is business rates, which is can be a big hurdle. You know, after paying rent, you obviously need to pay business rates. Thanks.
All prices skyrocketing now. It's crazy, and you can see that people are definitely cutting back. We've got to keep going in other ways.
Yeah, yeah. But it seems like you're still quite busy on the weekend. I mean, yeah, as I said, I was here recently, and yeah, it was pretty much full. So that's good to see.
Yeah, no, it is. I try to do a bit more of the social media side. I'm trying, which I think it definitely does help. But it'd be great, actually, maybe if the council even put on some sort of free education for business owners to learn how to do more social media, because it is a really good thing to do. But you know, I'm trying to learn as I do it rather than someone showing me what to do.
Yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, potentially it could be some other organization. Doesn't necessarily need to be the council, but yeah, maybe they could partner with someone. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. So speaking about the area, you know, are there any changes that you're seeing now? We're hopefully well and out of COVID, but any other sort of big trends or big sort of things that you're seeing happening, or in London in general?
I feel that people are going more towards street foods rather than having a big proper meal, which is what I like as well, because I like to try lots of different things at once.
Yes.
I think people are going out more now because you can't go on, you know, people might be cutting back on a big holiday or they've saved money, but they really enjoy at least going out for a nice meal. I think what else has changed?
It's a very broad question, of course.
Yeah. I don't really know.
What's your top seller?
It would have to be a mixture of sausage rolls and brownies. We sell a lot of everything.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, Lamingtons. No,
Yeah.
it has to be Lamingtons.
Yeah, yeah.
We go through a lot of Lamingtons. So I make them regular, and I make gluten-free ones as well. So I think they'd have to be the top seller, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think that people come here and attend the sort of events and the kids' parties, and then they get more of an appreciation for other types of baked goods, Australian baked goods, and so on?
Yes.
You're an ambassador for Australia, really.
Yeah. I try. I don't want to lose my heritage. I love it.
Yeah.
And there's so many people here who, are entertained, or they've been there on a holiday. So coming in and seeing some of the products reminds them of, they might have gone on a honeymoon or a holiday or something. So
yeah.
I definitely like bringing my culture here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's been great chatting to you, Dee. Anything you want to highlight to people? Any big event coming up? I know there's a very important day in the Australian and New Zealand calendar. This episode might not be out by that point, but besides Anzac Day, is there anything else on the horizon?
But Anzac Day, Christmas time, we do all the gingerbread for Gingerbread City, which is always something to look out for. We've been doing that since day one.
Yep.
It was in Belgrade for the last 2 years, but we're changing venues again, which is a very busy time for us because we literally make over 2 tons of gingerbread. It is 2 months of lots of gingerbread.
Wow.
And lots of sweets. So it is a lot of fun. Then obviously we have Australia Day, Waitangi Day, Anzac Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day. It was for my hot cross buns for Easter, Halloween. I love to decorate the shop, and then obviously make lots of weird and wonderful treats that I have, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dee. It's been great chatting to you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.